go. Anywhere you look, you can find me on the low with my nose in a book. Turning through the pages, reading through the script. About to hit a million words, yeah, it's lit. Said it's lit. Yeah, it's lit.
Bonjour, welcome back to another episode of the It's Lit podcast. Today, we're doing The Fault in Our Stars deep dive. I'm Kalea.
And I'm Chyanne, a member of the Shamrock News.
I am Mr. Dix. I am the teacher of the Shamrock News and a literacy workshop teacher at Rowe Middle School.
My name is Gigi, and I'm also in the Shamrock News.
All right, so with our deep dive podcast that we are going to be doing, we would like to issue a spoiler alert because we are going to talk about this book in depth and we are going to say everything that's ever happened. So if you've never read The Fault in Our Stars and you would like to, I would recommend playing something else. Billie Eilish put a new song out today or something like that.
He did? Oh, yeah.
She did?
No, it's already came out today. You guys are fakes. Okay, it already came out.
No, I watched it come out on Spotify. I reloaded my Spotify and saw it come out. I saw it come out. I saw it come out on my Spotify.
Yes.
Yeah, I wish it was gay.
listened to
Studio
it.
recorded.
No, it came
I know.
out
I
in-
had an Instagram.
Oh my goodness.
It came out a long time ago. Before she
Yeah, I
know,
wish
but
you
it's
were
the studio recording.
I know, but
I can play it on ukulele. I know that.
People that are like,
Yes. Anyways, we will come back. And if you have not read this book yet and you would like to read it and you would not like to know what happens at the end, I would advise you to turn this off at this point. But if you have read The Fault in Our Stars and you would like to engage in this conversation with us through listening, join us. Bump it loud. Turn it all the way up. All right,
We're
so
not music.
Clay, do you want to hit us with the synopsis of the story?
Give me.
It's on the dock.
Despite the
Just read the dock.
yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it? Despite the tumor-shrinking medical miracle that has brought her a few years, Hazel has never been anything but terminal. Her final chapter inscribed upon a diagnosis. But when a gorgeous plot twist named Augustus Waters suddenly appears at Cancer Kids Support Group, Hazel's story is about to be completely rewritten.
Whoa.
So what are some of the things that we think that, just to touch bases real quick, that we should talk about what happens in The Fault in Our Stars?
Augustus dies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big one.
Yeah.
Like,
When she goes to Amsterdam, I feel like that's a big one.
Yeah, so she and Augustus meet. They develop a friendship. Is that we are going to label it as at first?
Yeah.
friendship.
Friendship.
They bond over 2 books. An Imperial Affliction.
Affliction.
An Imperial Affliction, and then what is it? The Price of Dawn, the Mayhem of Dawn. The one that Augustus tells her to read. It's with Major Mayhem, that from the video game.
I don't remember, but I know what you're talking
Yes.
about. Yeah.
So they bond over those books, and then eventually we find out that she has already used her wish on Disney World, but the genies grant Augustus a wish, and they wish to go to Amsterdam and meet the writer of the novel, Peter Van Houten.
Yeah.
And then what happens from there?
Well, they go there, and then they find out that the Arthur, the author, wasn't the one that invited them in the first place. It was the assistant, and then he gets mad.
Yeah. Not a
And
cool dude.
freaks out. But then they go on a dinner, and that's fun.
Yeah.
And they get wine.
Drinking the stars.
They're drinking the stars. They drink
Yeah.
some champagne
Champagne.
and drink the stars.
I had a sniff on New Year's. It was not good.
They make out in the Anne Frank house.
Yeah.
That
And
happened.
then-
I want to talk
Then
about how
everyone
that's not
started
respectful.
clapping. Everyone started clapping. It was cute.
And what do we find out in Amsterdam? What's the big bombshell that Augustus drops on us?
He's lit up like a Christmas tree. He's so crazy.
Lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yes.
The cancer is back.
He had a PET scan.
Yeah.
A PET, pet
I learned
scan.
that from Grey's Anatomy.
And so then they go back, and then from there, the rest of the book is essentially
Yeah.
Augustus taking a turn for the worst. until, as Gigi so eloquently and beautifully and poetically put it earlier, Gus dies. So that is the.
But he had a pre-funeral, so it's okay.
And he did have a pre-funeral, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. That is essentially how The Fault in Our Stars goes down. So we talked about this. A bunch of students and I got together, and we talked about how we're going to break this down into different sections. We're going to do behind-the-scenes backstory. We're going to have a lunch break and talk about the characters we'd like to eat lunch with. OMG, WT heck.
WT
moments that are like surprising to us. We're going to do our notable quotables, and then we're going to talk about text connections, or as some other students wanted to call it,
It me.
It me. They also said hashtag relatable. I don't know which one.
I like hashtag relatable better.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to make a change. It's not
At
hashtag
me.
relatable. So, a couple things behind the scenes backstory. John Green originally wrote this book about one of his friends, Esther
Earl Grace.
Esther Earl Grace. Do you know anything about that story?
There's a book called Not a Star is Born. That's not right. There's another book about her life, and basically, she's the one who dies, not Gus, first of all. And he writes it after her death. And, like, the book about her, it's so sad. And she really liked cats, and I don't know how to say it, but...
Wait, did John Green write that book?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to look at.
Okay. So it was based on her life and her struggle with cancer. There's also another thing that I found out on the internet that is awesome, is that he had two very different endings. One of the endings, Peter Van Houten ties one of the characters to the railroad tracks as an exploration of the trolley problem at the end. So basically the trolley problem is like, you have to choose between two tragic outcomes. So you tie 5 people to a train track, and then there's another person tied to a train track, and the train is supposed to run over the 5 people and kill them. But you can choose to divert the trolley and have it kill the one person, which would be less deaths, but then you're responsible for the one death. So Van Houten ties one of the characters to the railroad tracks.
I would like to see that.
End.
That's weird, but like I
Very different book in that case. And then there was another one, another ending where, let's see. Oh, the other ending is they intend to track down and kill a drug dealer, and they intend to die in the process. So the other alternate ending was that they were just like, hey, we're going to sacrifice ourselves. And they went to go find a drug dealer and try to kill the drug dealer. And they planned on dying in the process. Once again, another...
honestly, those sound better than the way it ended.
Really?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
does.
Okay, go
Because
ahead.
they would have at least like died together, you know?
And they would have... Because, okay, I feel like somebody dying from cancer is, like, really sad. But if you were to go on, like, an adventure where it was like, I know I'm going to die in this process, but I might as well go and do it. That just, I feel like, seems more meaningful than just, like, having your pre-funeral and then dying. Like, no, like, yeah.
I think it's better than that whole plot twist with Peter Van Houten, because I feel like that was kind of messy. I feel like that was him just trying to be like, I wrote a book about cancer that's not about the people having cancer, it's about this author dude. And I did not exactly like that.
Okay.
It's kind of
Yeah.
messy.
Yeah, I get that. But I feel like when they tracked down the drug dealer, I feel like that would be cool, because
What if they killed somebody else in the process, though?
What a shame.
that'd be well, yeah, a shame, but like it'd
It was
still
for
be
a
like
good
an
reason.
adventure.
Good for. So, let's start there. What do you guys think about the ending? It sounds like you guys don't like the ending of the book all that much.
It's
I would at least want them to die together instead of Augustus dying and then,
her just
just being left behind.
yeah.
Oh, so you wanted them to die
Yeah,
like
I
Romeo
wanted
and
them
Juliet?
to, like, I wanted them to not like kill themselves,
I
but
wanted
like,
Hazel to die.
like, didn't Romeo and Juliet kill themselves?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, like they stabbed themselves.
Unless
Yeah.
you're talking about like Romeo and Juliet, or the Nomeo and Juliet.
They're talking about seals.
Wait, really?
Wait, anyways.
So you don't like the fact that Augustus dies. So what do you think happens? I mean, if we're going to go like the book says and the characters live on after the story ends, what do you think happens to Hazel? I mean, how does she spend the rest of her days?
I don't know. I feel like it'd just be really sad because you'd be without your person that you like cared about, because they met in this kid cancer group, but then like they went on this big trip, and it was Augustus' dying wish to go on it. So I feel like losing that person that spent their dying wish on you, that just like
Hurt.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is there any way that she can come back from that?
No, I don't think so.
I think he inspired her to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like before they met, she was kind of just like,
So going off what Gigi said, do you think that there's a chance that she's lying around and all of a sudden she's like, Gus wouldn't want this from me, and then she
Yeah.
goes out and does other things?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
He should make a sequel.
The Fault in Our
No,
Stars
he
2.
should not.
Revenge of the Stars.
Please do not. Oh my gosh, don't inspire
The
that.
Falling of the Stars.
Falling of the Stars.
Turtles All the Way Down was really good, and I'm glad he did not write a sequel and wrote other books instead.
So which character would you most like to
Philip.
have lunch with?
I want to have lunch with Philip.
Okay, so talk about who Philip is and...
He's the oxygen tank. I just feel like he would have a really nice. He seems like a nice person with like a really good personality. Like he's just there for Hazel, you know. Like
Literally.
he helped her physically and
Mentally.
probably emotionally too. Like imagine how many times Hazel has probably ranted to Philip. Think about it.
I would want to have a lunch break with Isaac. Because he just like, I don't know. Just hit that.
And so explain who Isaac is for...
Isaac is the Augustus' friend who went blind.
And what happens with him? He loses...
Well, he lost his one eye, but then he goes, like, he lost his other one. So then he's just, like, completely blind, and then he lost his girlfriend. And then that was, yeah, it was
Pretty
mean.
devastating.
It was mean.
They throw some eggs at her car.
I like that part.
The mom comes out, and they said they're going to call the police on the mom.
Yeah, but then Augustus was like, you wouldn't want to do that. And, like, I don't remember what it was, but that was fun.
So, I like Isaac's character a lot. Interesting.
Yeah.
The last time I saw the movie, I didn't realize that the guy who played Isaac in The Fault in Our Stars is also the same dude who is the main character in Paper Towns.
Yeah, I realized
movie.
that too. That's kind of cool. Gigi, who's your favorite character? Who would you want to have a lunch break with?
Can I have two?
Sure.
You
I
could
want to
go
go to lunch with Gus's parents.
Why is
Augustus's
that?
parents. Okay, they're so sweet. Like literally, their son has cancer, and they've still got all their cute quotes up around their house. They're such nice people,
The thing
and
with
like
the
they've
quote-
gone through so much, and like
Yeah.
they lost their child, and so they need young people. So I'll go have lunch with them.
This is off topic, but I feel like quotes, inspirational quotes, aren't really inspirational. Okay, I like the Mom got me this coloring book. You know, I like coloring, but it was like an inspirational quote coloring book.
Okay.
And most of them were like, keep going even though like you're having a hard time, and I get like that's good to think, but like coloring that's not fun. That's just like, you think I'm sad.
That was a roller coaster from start to finish.
There's a roller coaster that only goes up.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't want to be on that roller coaster.
Very dangerous.
I think for me, I would also, if I had to do it, I would do the Gigi route and go to. And I think I'd like to probably hang with Hazel's parents on that.
Hazel's mom, because she's
And I can,
They are very
I
sweet.
can
Love their
relate to Hazel's dad because he's a pretty big crier, and I think that I would totally be everything that he was in that book if that were my child. And I really just think that Hazel's mom is a really awesome character.
Yeah.
And I think
She's
she's
like a
there
really
all the
strong
time.
character.
Super
She
strong.
came out of the shower to go get Hazel after she was doing in the movie. She came out of the shower and she was wrapped in her towel, and Hazel's having this like thing going on, and she's in her towel. This is like major
Just ready to
mom
This
go.
may
moment.
seem inappropriate, but I like how she handled when Hazel and Gus had.
The do.
Yeah. Because she's like, well, I mean, she has cancer.
Might as well get it done with.
Cheyenne, that's not what I meant.
Okay, well that's weird. That sounded weird. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I get what you were saying on that. I just think that her to go over to Amsterdam, and I think one of my favorite parts of the book, the one part that gets me like the little misty-eyed geyser in my eyes, is when Hazel talks about how she heard her mom say, "I'm not gonna be a mom anymore," and then when it comes back around and the mom is like, "Actually, I know what I'm going to do," and she's like, goes back to school and she wants to counsel families who have lost kids, and I think that's a really powerful thing when you have something that happens to you and you're like, well, now I'm going to develop this strong part of me because of this thing that happened to me, and she's one of my favorite characters in the whole book.
And then help others who have dealt with that, or like who haven't dealt with that, or who are going through that, but she's already been through it, or like had that experience. That's just like, to me, that's like, if I could do anything, that's what I would want to do.
I can totally understand that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just nice to know that somebody else has gone through a really crappy situation that you're going through, and it's just like, I'm not the only person who is living this or who has lived this.
Yeah.
Somebody else has lived this, and it makes living it not as crappy.
Yeah.
It's like 2% less crappy, and that's nice. 2% goes a long way.
So our next topic is OMG WT Heck, the moment that surprised us most in the story. And personally, mine was when, I think it's been a while since I read the book, but like when Augustus went to like buy cigarettes and then he ended up throwing up. That's when I was like, oh no. Like, I just didn't expect it to go that far. Like, I know the book has like had many peaks in the story, but like, I don't know, he just seemed so broken in that moment. And it's like the fact that Hazel like was there to experience it with him, like literally, I was so upset.
Yeah, and so I think part of that is, right, he's such a strong character throughout the whole time, and you see that. I don't remember how much was that was pretty true in like the movie and the book, right? Like those things were pretty much the same, the way that they went out. When you were reading it, is that when you realized who did you think was going to die in like first?
Oh, Hazel.
You thought
Yeah.
Hazel?
I literally thought that Hazel was gonna die.
When did you go, oh, I think Gus might be the one who goes first?
That moment.
That
That's why it
moment?
surprised me so much, because I was like, oh wow, he's gonna be the one that's gonna like kick the bucket. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Cheyenne? What's yours?
The most surprising moment, it's a happy moment. So it's when he was like, they're having the picnic or whatever, and then he was like, we're gonna go to Amsterdam. Or like they were talking about their dying wish, and then he like went up and he surprised her, and he was like, we're going to Amsterdam, like pack your bags. It was just like so like just extraordinary, because going through cancer and then having this, like having someone spend their dying wish on going on a trip that you've been dreaming about, that's just like extraordinary.
Yeah. Gigi, what about you? What was your most surprising moment?
This is not like most surprising moment because I don't think I have one. But
What's your most moment?
most moment.
Momentist moment.
Momentist moment.
But like what I predicted, sort of going off what Kalea said, I thought Hazel was gonna die, and then they were gonna have some like organ switchy thing going on. Like, I thought she was gonna be the one to save Gus.
Oh.
Or I thought that one of them was going to get in a car crash, because I read My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult, and literally, can I spoiler?
No.
You're not going to read
Yes,
it.
I am. You don't know that.
It's
Dang
cool.
it. Okay, now
I
you
wouldn't
ruined
be
it.
surprised.
So-
What do you mean I ruined it? You were going to spoil a book that I wanted to read.
So wait, you thought
Didn't know it existed.
someone was going to get in a car accident and then
Like a car
organ?
accident, but not. No, I didn't. The organ part wasn't part of that. I thought someone was going to die in a different way than cancer. Like, I thought
Okay.
one of the two was getting like a plane crash or something. They were going to die from something other than cancer. Because it happened in another book after that. And then I was like, there you go. That's what he should have done.
So you thought that's what he should have done.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I thought it was cool. Like, not that it was cool would be cool, but I think it's different, sort of. But it's more surprising than a lot of the stuff in the book.
And you didn't find
In my
the
opinion.
book to be surprising.
No, I thought it was more like well written and pretty, but it was also kind of slow to me.
Okay. I would say that my most surprising moment, I think, was when he has the quote that you guys talked about earlier, that where he says he lit up like a Christmas tree. That was the part where I was like, oh, I think Gus might be the one who goes out on this one first. And that was where, because I thought it was all leading up to Hazel. I thought for sure that something was going to happen in Amsterdam. And that something was going to, like, be bad over there, and then it didn't. And it was the complete opposite. And all of a sudden you saw Hazel, who I thought was, I guess, physically the weaker one throughout the whole book, was the iller, the sicker one. And then all of a sudden she comes and flips around, and she has to be the more physically strong one. Gus gets starting pushed in wheelchairs and stuff like that, and that was the part that really surprised me the most.
I feel like when that happened, I was kind of like, well, maybe because he said this, they're gonna go on some other adventure. Because I don't know, I just feel like with books that I've read, like when something bad happens, they go on an adventure. Like that's how it works. But then they didn't, and then I was kind of like, well,
What if him dying was the adventure?
maybe. I mean, it could be. But
It's not a very nice adventure.
yeah. What if he comes back as a ghost? A giddly ghost.
Next, we have notable quotables, where we find our favorite quote from the text and have a discussion about them.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go. Okay. My favorite quote was, it was when they were talking about how hot they were. And it was like, it was just that most really good looking people are stupid, so I exceed expectations. Right, it's primarily his hotness, I said. It can be sort of blinding, he said. It actually did to our blind friend Isaac. Terrible tragedy that. But can I help my own deadly beauty? You cannot. It is my burden, this beautiful face. Not to mention your body. Seriously, don't even get me started on my hot bod. You don't want to see me naked. See me naked. Actually took Hazel Grace's breath away, he said, nodding towards the oxygen tank. You okay?
All right, Chyanne's quote. Do you want to explain without getting too vulgar?
I don't know when that was, but just the last part when it was like, it actually took Hazel Grace's breath away, and it was like talking about her oxygen tank. And he's just because you don't see Augustus as like the type of person who'd be like, yeah, if a rock, you know what, bud, like that, and then he like does that in like a joking way, and then talking about how it took Hazel Grace's breath away and she has an oxygen tank. It's just like
It's hilarious.
hilarious.
All right, Kalea, what's yours?
Well, mine has, like, my quotes have been kind of sad. Well, mine is Augustus Waters died 8 days after his funeral, because, like, that sentence hit me like a truck. Like, I literally started crying because of that one sentence, and it was just, like, a lot. Like, there's literally so much, like, emotional power behind just that sentence, and it is insane.
And a lot of sentences in books, like, there's been a lot of, like, sentences that just, like,
A lot in John Green books too.
Doesn't it come right after his pre-funeral? Like the
Yeah.
pre-funeral ends, and then you don't get anything that happens.
Yeah,
for
it's
the
just-
next
Yeah,
8 days.
it's just that he dies, and
Yeah.
it's like,
yeah, it's just like Augustus dies 8 days after his pre-funeral, and that's just like, oof.
I really like the pre-funeral scene. I just like that idea of somebody getting to hear, or what's the phrase is like, you give them their flowers while they're here. Like, I just really like that idea and that saying of he got to hear his two friends talk about why they cared about him. I thought it was really powerful, and they're in the literal heart of Jesus, I believe.
And I'm not going to say anything like about any of the characters, but in looking for Alaska, he also did the thing where he talked like he did a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
That also, same emotions, just like, yeah, tears.
Gigi, what about you?
Oh, I have two. I'm picking.
Do the one that's already on the thing because
I
it's
have another
easy.
one. Okay. My favorite quote is the "I'm a grenade," and at some point I'm gonna blow up, and I'd like to minimize the casualties. Okay, because I don't know. I liked that scene because it wasn't with Augustus or anything. It was with her parents, and like how her dad responded was, but I really loved it.
What's your
Like-
quote, Mr. Dix?
Wait, I have the quote where he responds.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to. She says, "I'm like a grenade, Mom." And that's not the full quote, but what her dad says, like, "You are not a grenade, Hazel, not to us. Thinking about you dying makes us sad, but you're not a grenade. You're amazing. You can't know, sweetie, because you've never had a baby become a brilliant young reader with a side interest in horrible television shows. But the joy you bring us is so much greater than the sadness we feel about your illness." And I feel like he handled it so well, and her dad is so great. And that scene was just so emotional and lovely.
No. What's your favorite quote?
I'm going to be kind of corny because I think I'm going to choose the last quote of the book, where I really like the note that Gus wrote to Peter Van Houten, and as Hazel's reading it, and you don't get to choose if you get hurt in this world, old man, but you do have some say in who hurts you. I like my choices. I hope she likes hers. That was the one that got me towards the end, where I was like blowing my nose with the pages of the book because it was so bad. And I really like that idea of, if no matter how long you go through life, you're eventually going to be hurt. And so if you get to choose the people who are going to hurt you, and you're like, I'm cool with that person as being the one who hurt me, I think that one's okay. And I like that idea of just, there's a lot of emotions, and it's better to experience as many as you can than just to be happy all the time. And I like that aspect of that quote.
Yeah. The next segment is going to be #relatable, and it's going to be talking about how we relate to the text. Yeah. Okay. Kalea, why don't you start?
Okay, I forgot her name, but like Hazel has a friend that she goes to the mall with. What's her name? Caitlin. And like she talks to her about outfits and stuff. I relate to that a lot because usually I like text I have like this one cousin where I just like blow her phone up with outfits that I want to wear but I'm indecisive about. So like that's like, she's the biggest mood.
Gigi, what do you got?
I couldn't think of anything because I haven't read that book until 6th grade.
Yeah, I
Or
haven't
since 6th grade.
read for a while.
Okay, but I can think of it.
Well, I wasn't degrading you. You don't have to do that.
Mr. Dix, how there do you relate?
My relatable is actually probably it's a little heavy, just in the sense that, so in 2010, my best friend actually had the exact same cancer that Gus had, and he got his leg amputated from the knee. And then in 2012, my friend passed away because that cancer spread to the rest of his body. And so I read this book in 2013, and it was just really, really awesome to like read it and be like, oh, I could relate to the exact experience of like watching someone you care about go through that, and go through all the different steps of like, yeah, this part was like, they were okay at this part, and then all of a sudden this is when they're not okay, and then this is where things get really, really bad. And then I like the part where they talk about Carolyn Mathers, or the one that Gus dated, and Gus is like, yeah, it wasn't all like hunky-dory, like they fought to the end, like she sucked and she was a huge jerk and no one really liked her. And that was kind of like the way that it was with my best friend at the end. By the end I was like, yo dude, you were a jerk, man. But like, he was dying, and I totally didn't really connect to that. I was like, man, why are you so mean to everybody? But then as I was going through and like reading this book, it was just very therapeutic to be like, oh, I can relate to all of this. And same time around in 2012, about 6 months after he died of cancer, I actually got diagnosed with melanoma, which I am fine now, but I had cancer like 6 months after he died of cancer. So just going through this whole world of reading this, I thought it was very much like how I experienced it. Like, it sucks, but there's really funny parts, and then there's parts that are like really, really awful. But then there's other parts that are like normal, but the normal is not normal because it's cancer normal.
Yeah.
And so this book, I probably cried for like the last 175 pages of this book, and just like was knocking them out. But it was really good, and I actually shared it with my best friend's mom, and was like, you should read this, and she liked it. So I thought that part was really, really like I said, therapeutic and cathartic for me, of just reading it, being like, okay. Like I said earlier, it's nice to know that somebody else had a similar experience about a crappy event, because you're like, I'm not the only person who has gone through this crappy thing.
Yeah.
So that is my very heavy hashtag relatable
Well,
to this book.
mine is not heavy, but just like, you know how her mom was like, I'm not gonna be a mom anymore, and then after that she like picked herself up and like was like, oh, I'm gonna be a therapist or whatever for people who've gone through this. I believe that my brother's girlfriend, and they've been dating for a long time, and they're like practically married, as everyone jokes. But I think she's in college, but I think she's getting like a psychology thing, and I think she's gonna be a therapist. And I feel like that has to do with my story and everyone in my household, really. Because we've all been through this terrible tragedy with our parents, and then after that we go to this home that we don't know. We like go to this place where we like don't know any of the people, and then from there you just build a family out of nothing because you don't know anyone. Of course, you may have like your sister or something, but then after that you're like, I don't know you. Like, how am I supposed to trust you, or how am I supposed to how are you supposed to be my mom?
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like she's doing that partly because of like that story, and just because she wants to help people who've gone through this, because she sees how much we struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just feel like that's like cool.
And so you're saying that her seeing the situation, the struggles going on in your family, has made her be like, that's what I want to go do.
Yeah,
like, I'm
that's
around this and I want to help this.
Yeah, and I feel like anytime that any of us are having a bad day, she's the one that goes and like pulls it. And then my mom's even like, you know what, if you ever get a therapist, we're signing you up to go to her.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, would you give the book?
8.5.
I feel like overall the book was really good. I just like,
Go ahead.
the ending, I feel like wasn't the greatest. I
It
feel
just
like,
didn't like satisfy me personally.
yeah, it didn't like give me the satisfaction of like this book like fulfilled my hopes. Like, it was beautifully written and it was great overall, but I feel like the pre-funeral was good, but what if they had like a different adventure?
Okay.
And what if they did this adventure to then go to rest
Mm-hmm.
and like kick the bucket and say I'm done? And I feel like that pre-funeral was kind of that, but I feel like it could have been more. So overall I say like, yeah, an 8.5 or 7. Like, overall the book was great, but just that ending kind of like,
And you guys wanted a more romantic, adventurous.
yeah, I feel like
That's
if
why
they,
the drug dealer thing would have been cool.
yeah, like I would have read that.
Fault in Our Stars. Deep dive. Oh, jinx.
that together. That was so weird.
Thank everybody for listening, and we're gonna think the next one we're gonna do is gonna be another 10 out of 10 would recommend podcast.
Is that the perks of being a wallflower?
Oh no, you guys are
No?
you guys are gonna do perks of being a wallflower in a couple weeks.
In
So
a couple weeks? All right.
if you want to join them on their perks of being a wallflower deep dive, you can read that, or we'll be back next time and we'll have some more books to recommend to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Anywhere you go, anywhere you look, you can find me on the low with my nose in a book. Turning through the pages, reading through the script. About to hit a million words, yeah, it's lit, 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 lit. Said it's lit, 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 lit. Yeah, it's lit, 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 lit.
Hey Rowe Middle School, we'd like to remind you to follow our social media accounts so that you and your pupils can keep up to date with what's happening at Wilbur D. Rowe Middle School.
Sometimes we go live from our Facebook page, broadcasting musical concerts or after-school basketball games. We might post stories from field trips and dances to our Instagram page.
We interact with our favorite authors and educators on Twitter, and every episode of the Shamrock News and all other videos that we make get posted to our school's YouTube page.
So be sure to follow at RMS_Shamrocks on Twitter and Instagram. We're at RowMS on Facebook.
To see our videos, head to youtube.com/RowTechnology.
From everything to upcoming events and snow days to school-wide reading challenges and sports highlights, we've got you covered.